We received an in-game cinematic and gameplay sequence, plus a full reveal date for the upcoming Dragon Age game, Dragon Age DreadWolf, which was released on Dragon Age Day in 2023. As for all of these crumb-like trailers, there will be a thorough examination and breakdown of these sequences, as well as similarities to other trailers and concept art we have seen over these years. Of course, all of the links for these types of scenes and concept art, as well as this current trailer, are linked down below. But without further ado, let's break down the 2023 trailer for Dragon Age DreadWolf. Bioware states in their blog, to celebrate Dragon Age Day, we're sharing a look at few of the in-game locations you'll explore in this new adventure, and perhaps a little more for those who listen closely. The stage is set. The DreadWolf is ready to make his move. Antiva. Here we see the country of Antiva on the map. On the right, we have two landmarks, a city and a crow. The city sits across the land of Treviso, a port city on the Rialto Bay near the outskirts of the Antivan capital, Antiva City. From the Bioware blog, it states, ever the pinnacle of mystery and intrigue, the crows watch from the deep shadows of beautiful Antiva. Something, however, is amiss, and they are set on uncovering the source. According to 8 Talons, the short story from Tevinter Nights, the Antivan crows originated from the area surrounding the city of Treviso. Their order was founded by a group of monks who poisoned their tyrannical duke. As of date, Treviso still remains an important city and meeting area for the Antivan crows. As speculated, this, without a doubt, seems to be the city and headquarters for the Antivan Crows. However, according to another short story, As We Fly, which was posted just last year by former Bioware writer Lucas Christiansen, Treviso has been invaded and captured by the Qunari. The occupied Qunari are led by the Dathrata, a member of the Antam who was nicknamed the Butcher due to its cruelty. The Antivan Crows in the city are actively engaged in resisting the efforts and destroying Qunari weapon caches. We even see art concepts describing this type of event back in 2020 for a behind-the-scenes look for DreadWolf, where crows are fighting tirelessly against the Qunari invasion. But as the flycam shows, we can see the city has no signs of invasion and ruin. So whether we hit this timeline of our hero dealing with the incoming Qunari invasion during the events in DreadWolf, well, that's just still up for discussion. For this type of flycam of the Antivan city of Treviso, it's quite cool to compare the scopes of the similar concepts and trailers we have seen throughout the years. For one, we know that the spires of these types of castles and structures, plus the mountain ranges, have stayed fairly the same. I assume that throughout these types of concept arts, we are truly seeing different angles and scopes surrounding this type of city, and it's quite exciting to see what this will truly look like in-game with our new character. Oh, and for the character we hear in the background,
we fight for everyone, and we always will. The crows rule Antiva.
a lovely guess would be towards one of the 4 talents that are left over from surviving the ongoing assassination attempts. What's to be speculated among fans of this certain voice is either Andaratea Cantori or Caterina Della Morte, who is the first talent of the Antivan Crows. And clearly what we can speculate plot-wise is the potential alliances with the Crows and perhaps becoming within the ranks of a Talon could save the northern country of Antiva against the oncoming Qunari invasion. Perhaps being an Antivan Crow would par a fair match against the DreadWolf. Rivain. On the map, we see the nation of Rivain, a peninsula country that is located immediately next to Antiva on the Rialto Bay. A vivid image of a moving squid creature that is engulfing the land is displayed. While this is very surprising, Rivain is little known for much in the scope of various cities except for the Qunari settlement Kant-Ar and Daresmud, its own capital city. According to Bioware's blog, they even state, upon the eastern shores and sun-kissed sands, the Lords of Fortune no longer hold dominion over the coasts of Rivain, not when dragons are growing bolder and laying waste to their ships. Much to our alarm, we see that the next shot is of a port city in ruin. Whether it's from a Qunari invasion, dragons, or even this enormous sea creature, Rivain seems to be in deep trouble. However, it is noted that this was an art concept back in 2020, and within the Project Morrison section from the book Bioware Stories and Secrets from 25 Years of Game Development, that us fighting sea creatures will be a greater possibility. It's quite unclear whether it's one of these two sorts of creatures, but it's a possible nemesis for our future protagonist. We can even extrapolate from the voice in the background, which states,
"Glory To the risen gods. They come to deliver this world.
This might be a new Lord of Fortune individual, or it could be what some fans believe as Barv, a Rivaini Lord of Fortune who first appeared in Tevinter Nights. From Rivaini culture and religion, unlike the majority of peoples in Thedas, the Rivaini are not Andrastian and do not believe in the Maker. Rather, they are pantheists who believe in the natural order. As such, many hold to the belief that their god and the universe are one and the same. Due to the acceptance of magic among the traditional Rivaini people, it's being a matriarchal society in which elder women or even female seers can freely practice their craft of magic. Specifically, hedge mages or seers of their land are very similar to holding practices like Morrigan and Solus do. I mention this because in the Project Morrison concept art, we see a figure of a marine monster that appears to be feminine and mimics the same head in these recent trailers. Perhaps this is easy to speculate that the god this Lord of Fortune is speaking about could relate to the speculated elven gods we see throughout murals. Perhaps the monster in Rivain is more than simply just a monster, but someone with extraordinary shape-shifting powers that the Rivaini revere. And the next Dragon Age protagonist might have to deal with its own demise. The following scene from the map depicts the Anderfels, a northern desert on the western continent of Thedas that serves as the headquarters for the well-known Grey Wardens, who have their headquarters within Weishaupt. On the left, it shows the infamous statue of Andraste, which is famed Our Lady of the Anderfels. In World of Thedas Volume 1, it reads, "You make the pilgrimage to see the magnificent white statue of Our Lady, carved into the face of the Merdane near Weishaupt, and bearing an eternal flame." From Bioware's blog, they state, "To the far west, 3 Grey Wardens patrol the Anderfels. Tremors have been creating disturbances of late. Their cause is unknown. Upon the distant horizon, a storm of ominous intent brews and darkens the skies." From what we can see in the next shot is a depiction of a looming storm over the Grey Wardens' fortress, Weishaupt. This is pretty self-explanatory because we know quite well there's something going on within the Anderfels, and if we can even zoom in on this trailer closely, we can see some sort of blighted madness happening with what looks to be the entryway. This looks extremely similar to the blighted flycams we saw way back in 2020 for EA Play's showcase. Each of these constructions might just be from the location of Weishaupt's stronghold. And Anderfels is definitely dealing with some blight and darkspawn like never before, and potentially wiping out the remaining Grey Wardens during its impending attack. Whether our new protagonist is involved with solving the source of its problem or not, well, it really depends on what we see fully next year. And if you're one of those who hates spoilers, just please don't listen to the sentence. But for those who really want to see exactly what we do in Weishaupt, above is a video where I uncovered DreadWolf leaks posted last year. And who knows what will change for the release, but Weishaupt is without a doubt something we will encounter and experience within Dragon Age DreadWolf. The last and final place of the map might seem confusing to look at, but once you line up specific landscapes and tiny images of snakes trailing around this area, this seemingly unmarked land is truly the continent of Tevinter. On the leftmost side is what looks to be the Arlethon Forest, which sits on the Venification Sea, and depicts the drawing of large aravels in which the elven people use to transport themselves to surrounding lands. According to the most recent comic, The Missing, Varric and Scout Harding travel to the Arlethon Forest in search of the Crucius Stone. When the duo finds themselves face to face with a pair of Veil Jumpers, they decide to team up. But back to the drawings. Within the middle of this shot shows a den of snakes traveling between the little cities of Tevinter around the Nosen Sea. And of course, on the right side sits the wondrous city capital of Tevinter, Minrathous. The Tevinter Imperium still rules by powerful magical users in a kind of magocracy. Its nobility is noted for being excessive, of course, and slavery is still maintained. As opposed to previous Dragon Age games, this is the continent in which greed, pride, and those who do evil the best are rewarded greatly. And its history is rich with mysteries beyond the humans' comprehension, as they build their structures on top of other structures from former historic landscapes. All of these structures are built on top of old temples dedicated to the old religions of the Tevinter Magisters who used to believe in the old gods. And of course, an ambiguous voice looms over this land stating,
"All the world will soon share the peace and comfort of my reign."
which oddly sounds way too familiar to Patrick Stewart, who of course many know as Uriel Septim in The Elder Scrolls Oblivion. Whether this is Patrick Stewart's dupe or not, they sound super similar and evil. Of course, I am sure many evil figures exist in Tevinter, but what we have seen in concept art and perhaps alluded from the Netflix show Dragon Age Absolution, this voice could very well be the figure of the Black Divine or even Archon Radonus from the former comic Mage Killer. And whether it's two of these figureheads that lead the nation of Tevinter or not, it leads me to believe that there's always some sort of malevolent figure in Tevinter looking to become powerful in one shape or another within each of these Dragon Age games. One thing we know for sure in Tevinter is that the Inquisition is looking to participate within their politics and plans in some way. If this potentially links to the DreadWolf, we will ultimately see. At the end of the blog, Bioware states, "This long-awaited chapter of Dragon Age is fast approaching. The time is close at hand. We'll see you next summer with answers to your questions, including ones you have yet to ask." With that will come our full reveal, including new trailers, gameplay, and of course the long-awaited release date. The DreadWolf will rise once more, and we'll have much more to share with you as we approach summer 2024. To be honest, after all these types of crumbs, I think if I combined them all together, I would make a slice. And that's what it kind of felt like these last 6 years of my content creation journey following the development of DreadWolf. Not to mention, it's plainly obvious that many of Bioware's former glory of talent has either left or been sent to Exodus during this year, including many of them suing Bioware for not paying full severance for their leave. Whether Bioware and EA settled for this case has been largely quiet, yet just this last month, protests stood in front of Bioware's door to consolidate N7 Day, creating the movement to End Severance Day. Bioware is not the same company as it was decades ago. I and many other content creators know that. I have personally dealt with them unfairly, I have seen them treat fans and other creators unfairly, and I have seen the fandom and its toxic positivity get in the heads and egos of those who say they fight for rights of others, yet happily glee over tiny crumbs of content and ignore the company's misconduct. But I hope in 2024 that they start showing exactly what they corporately talk about in their blogs. I hope they keep the wonderful creativity and world building their former employees gave to them for the majority of their life and careers. And I'm holding on to that hope that their work will be satisfied to the very end. My wonderful friend and moderator Carriane said it well. The way I see it, Bioware is in a damned if they do, damned if they don't situation with Dragon Age DreadWolf. The majority of people anticipating this game have been waiting for nearly a decade. Naturally, we are going to be tired of the cycle of radio silence, vague teaser, then a return to radio silence. There are also a lot of members of the community, outside of this one, who are weirdly vitriolic. If you look on any other Bioware social media posts, you'll see a lot of anger and outrage about how their studio will close, they've sold out, they've ruined their franchises, Dragon Age DreadWolf is ruined and will never be released, etc. I get the frustration, but shouting into the void about Bioware's mentions helps no one. I really sympathize with their marketing team, because they're at a place where if they do post something, it will never be enough until it's a firm release date. And if they don't post something, somehow that will justify people's personal theories about Dragon Age DreadWolf's development being mishandled behind the scenes. Personally, I'm tired of the crumbs and wish that they could hold off until they're allowed to reveal the showstopper trailer we're all waiting for. But I recognize if they don't do that, people will absolutely flip the fuck out. I'm excited about the little information we can glean on from this teaser, but I wish it hadn't been posted. However, if they hadn't done anything for Dragon Age Day or the Game Awards, I can assure you that the community would be losing their minds over it. So, I can rationalize their decision to continue parceling out crumbs. But with that, we are going to wrap up. What do you all think? Let me know in the comments down below, and I will probably silently watch in the void till the summer of 2024. If you see any different kind of content, forgive me, but thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video.